Hello guys, welcome back. Thank you for coming back. I can't believe you're here again. So this is my second vlog. I've decided what I want to do with my YouTube channel. I know it was a bit unclear in the beginning, but I've decided that it's going to be about all things that inspire me. So my travel experiences, books that I'm reading, events that I attend, people that I meet that I find inspiring, I'm going to share with you. So today is a book review day. Yay! I know. I'm not being nerdy, I know. It'll be fine, I promise you. So this is about two books that I'm reading at the moment, or that I just completed reading. And they're both by Nigerian authors, which is the cool thing. Is it just me, or is it just easier to read Nigerian authors? I find that I'm drawn to them. So I read Nkiru Olumide Ojo's Pressure Cooker earlier in the year. But today is about Tosan Jemide's Sugar Icing, a story of grit and glory. Guys, it's more grit than glory, but we'll get to it eventually. And the second one is Tomi Balogun's book on investment clubs and how to, invest with other people in a way that makes sense and helps you earn more returns. So those are the two books I'm going to be talking about today. First book, Sugar Icing. It is an incredible book. 17 chapters. Sounds like a lot, but it's not too much. For those of you who cannot read paperback books, I need to go and ask Mr. Jemide to make an e-copy for your millennials. However, I think it's actually nice to read paperback books because, you won't be tempted to look at WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all these things that distract us. And then your mother will not think you're just chatting. She can actually see that you're a very serious-minded young person reading a book. So, what is so amazing about this book? Why have I been gushing about it? Why am I going on and on and on about it? I think it's primarily because we don't talk about failure enough in our society. Everybody has, a glitz and glam story. Everybody has blown. Everybody has made it. And you don't really know what happens behind the scenes. I know Don Jazzy started the Surulere movement a few years back where he was sharing throwback pictures of when, they started from the bottom to really acknowledge the fact that they've been through a process and a journey. But we don't even really know the backstory of a lot of these people. And it's very easy to get frustrated or tempted on your journey to give up because, you haven't blown yet after 2 years or 3 years. Tosan's book is a story about 30 years of grit. And I'm going to share some of the big things that I learned from it. So each chapter starts with a quotable quote, mostly by Tosan. I was like, this uncle is deep. There are some quotable quotes that I need to go and put on Instagram. Man, I'll share one of them with you. And each chapter closes with thoughts from the oven side, which is kind of a summary of, what he has talked about in the chapter. The 17th chapter, which is Tosan's Tomorrow, doesn't have thoughts by the oven side. And it actually has blank pages as a way of him saying, my story is still being written. I found that very interesting, and I almost wanted to, help him write what I think I'm going to see in his life in the next 10, 20, 30 years, for however long he lives. One, it's not just about entrepreneurs. So for you 9-to-5ers like me who think, well, this book is for entrepreneurs, let me dissuade you. It's just about anybody who wants to make any impact in life. If you just want to do anything worthwhile, you definitely should read this book. So lesson number 1, resilience. This uncle, I give it to him. He is a resilient guy. Too many things happen to this guy, and half of those things, if they happen to me, I would have just given up since. But he's such a resilient guy. First, shop he rented, it was fraudsters. They took the rent and he never got the property. Second time he wanted to rent a place, it was also fraudsters. At this point, I would have said, this is a sign. My village people don't want me to blow in Lagos. Let me go back to Warri, which is where he's from. But that did not deter him. He kept going and going and going. Too many examples of times when he could have given up, but he did not. He just kept at it. I was reading the book at some point, I was like, okay, can you just give up? How come it's only you? All these things are happening too. But he didn't stop. And today we all know Cakes by Tosan, or at least those people who are on the internet, or people who have tried to plan a wedding, or people who have tried to do some high profile type of event. You know, he's the luxury cake maker. He's the person you go to if you want an amazing cake. He's the pioneer of sugar craft in Nigeria. All these fancy cakes you see today, he's the one that started that industry. And if he gave up, maybe we'll still be using cupcakes for weddings today. Who knows? Lesson 1, be resilient. He also had a dream of doing the tallest cake in Africa for the Guinness Book of Records. And that was almost an epic fail. They were out of time. The second tier of the cake didn't go on. It was supposed to be 10 tiers, and they had 2 hours, and the second tier had not come on. And at this point, he had literally given up. But he walked away and came back with a solution. Guys, don't give up. No matter how hard it is, no matter how tough it seems, do not give up. Lesson number 2, the importance of family. Tosan really gets into his feelings in this book. For a 50-year-old man, yes, he's 50, and he actually launched this book to commemorate his 50th birthday party and his retirement from cake making into, you know, bigger things like mentoring and training and, you know, things that are much more beyond success and are more about significance, right? For a 50-year-old guy, he was quite vulnerable. I found that to be the most compelling thing about this book. He talked about his family, the place of his mom of blessed memory. I even want to meet his mom, the way he describes her, the way he describes his wife, the way he describes his children, his father, his siblings. You want to have a huge family because of Tosan Jemide. I have only one sibling, as most of you know. And because of him, I want to have like 5 or 6, just because each of them play a very prominent part in his story. So Tosan talks about the importance of family. And this really got to me. There's actually a quote from the book, one of the quotable quotes. So this is page 78. It says, when the home front is functioning as it should, it is easier to make great strides in the workplace or in the marketplace. I think the importance of having a strong family foundation when you want to do anything that is of note cannot be overemphasized. The place of his siblings, the place of his father, his mom, his children, just makes me feel so warm, you know, and I definitely connect with that. For those of you who know me, you know I always talk about my family on Instagram. And I think it's important that you have a strong family network. This guy, you know, his business was at an all-time low at the point where his family life was, you know, not going very well. And for him to speak about it with such honesty, it really was very refreshing. So, as I was saying, it's important for you to, you know, have your family base as a strong foundation for whatever it is you want to do. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, everybody needs, you know, that family support. And for those of you like me who have only one sibling, your friends are also family. So as long as you have strong bonds with them, blood is not the only way that you can actually get family. Your friendships are also part of that strong support system that you need. So that was my second lesson from the book. Third lesson is about apprenticeship. Guys, I know we all arrive ready, we're all talented, we are gifted, all of that. But there's a place for learning. There is a place for putting your head down and learning the work. Tosan has a quotable quote, you know, that I'm going to share again. He says, to scale a tall fence, you need to move back, bend low, then sprint and jump. To scale a tall fence, you need to move back, bend low, then sprint and jump. I honestly believe that that place of bending low is where apprenticeship comes in. Honing your skill is non-negotiable. Skill and diligence will always outweigh talent, guys. Always. And so it's important that we take the time to learn the work. Tosan was first a fashion designer. And as part of his NYSC, even though he had been making clothes, he actually went to serve at a clothing store where he learned the business side of fashion. And that even made him much more successful in his business. When he decided to go into baking and sugar craft, as he calls it, he actually moved to England to go and learn how to do this work. I cannot even begin to tell you all the random places he worked and the minimum wage he took just to be able to learn the art of sugar craft. And it has paid off today. No matter how talented or gifted you are, there is a place for apprenticeship. There's a place for going to go and learn the work. And until you get your freedom, as we call it, don't talk to me. Go and learn the work. Let's just humble ourselves. I know a lot of us are always like, oh, I'm all this and a bag of chips, and every organization should be glad to have me. Yeah, but really, if you don't hone your skills and you don't learn from people that have gone ahead of you, you're going to fade out very quickly, I promise you. So take the time to be apprenticed properly. It's like a cake that is not well baked. You know it's going to spoil very quickly. So make sure you take the time to be baked properly so that you're rock solid and you can actually have a lot of momentum for many, many years to come. So I learned about apprenticeship in the most basic way from this book. Finally, I'm going to talk about people. And people here, beyond just having the support system, I'm going to talk about it in two ways: partnerships and advisory boards. I think this is very applicable to entrepreneurs, but also to people who just have a cause or some dream that they're chasing that might not necessarily be, a for-profit venture. Having the right partnerships is so important. There is no tree that ever made a forest, except in the Bible. Except in the Bible. But there is no tree that ever made a forest. Tosan was the creative person, but he knew that he could not run the administrative side of the business as well as he could do the creative side. And so he always partnered with people. In his fashion business, he partnered with his sister. In the restaurant he was running, he partnered with, his wife. And at every point in time, he had very strong partners that he carefully selected and was working with, because he knew he could not do it all by himself. Guys, you cannot be the CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, CSO all at the same time. It's just too much. And you're not going to be able to go far if you do this. As I always say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So find your partners. Find people that complement you and work with them to make this dream come true. Secondly, the role of an advisory board. Now that I think about it, I need to set up an advisory board for my life. Like actually get them to sign documents and be like, guys, you are my advisory board. Or you are my board of directors, something like that. Because these are the people that will tell you the truth, no matter how bitter it is, and also challenge you when you're not dreaming big enough. Tosan describes a situation here where he was at rock bottom and found one person to go talk to. And that person advised him to put together a group of people. And that's how they were able to relaunch Cakes by Tosan. That's how they were able to get the idea to actually start a bakery. I didn't even know he had a bakery. I just thought there was no more Cakes by Tosan. And this is me that I've been dreaming that he would do my wedding cake. But I digress. They started a bakery and they're doing amazing now just because he had the right people giving him advice. Find your advisory board and don't fill it with people that are just going to tell you what you like to hear. Make sure that you have people who will tell you the truth, no matter how bitter it is, and people that will not just say yes to everything that you propose. People that will challenge you to dream more, tell you you're not being ambitious enough, and you need to dream bigger. So find your advisory board for your NGO, for your business, for your life. Find your advisory board. So those are the 4 things. If I continue talking, you will not buy this book. And this man must make money, so make sure you go and buy the book. I'll give you details about where to find the book. But again, as I said, it's an easy read. It's very compelling. It's very honest. It's raw. He's so vulnerable in the book. You feel like he's gisting you about his life story. Guys, be resilient. Make sure you find your support system, your family, your friends. Ensure that you take the time to be apprenticed, to learn the work. And finally, find your people, the partners that complement you and your advisory board that will tell you the truth and challenge you to dream. I'm hoping that, we're going to continue to have conversations about this book. We don't talk about failure enough. This guy has literally demystified failure and helped us understand that even if you fail, you can get up and go again. So that is Sugar Icing, a story of grit and glory by Tosan Jemide.